The ANC in KwaZulu-Natal insists that regardless of the Supreme Court of Appeal's ruling against former President Jacob Zuma's release, he would not be going back to prison. Yesterday, the Supreme Court of Appeal in Bloemfontein ordered that the former president must return to the Estcourt Correctional Centre to finish serving his sentence. In a unanimous judgment, the SCA declared that Zuma did not lawfully complete his prison sentence. Now, to unpack this, we are joined on Zoom by ANC KwaZulu-Natal chairperson Siboniso Duma. Good to have you, Chair. Thanks so much for talking to us.
Thank you so much, Leanne, and good morning to your viewers at home as well.
So let's get your quick reaction to the Supreme Court of Appeal's ruling yesterday.
I'm sure it's fair that let us start with the Concord ruling towards the assassination of our hero, our beloved brother, and the member of a huge family of the ANC SABC, Comrade Chris Hani. We thought that the entire understanding of the judiciary and the justice system is aware of the social cohesion of what will transpire in the nation if some of the things are not done thoroughly. I think at this point in time, we're aware that the killing of Chris Hani was almost a relative towards the killing of a nation, the killing of a family. So if we are going to be haphazardly and just take a prisoner and take him out of prison without all the processes, the due processes, then you are risking the life of the South Africans. So I thought we just have to tell the family of Limpoane that we are together with them and their cry is our cry. So I think I just wanted to highlight there. Then let us go straight to the SCA. I've already analyzed, Leanne, that our laws are supposed to be protecting the sovereignty of the state. Our laws are supposed to be rebuilding the lost ground of the nation, which was under apartheid. So we thought somehow, there is an objective, subjective analysis on our judiciary these days. We think that they are too biased. President Zuma has suffered immensely under the jurisprudence of this country. I think you all are aware that some of his cases started in 2005. Up until today, he still undergoes that one. But Zoom specific to this one, he followed the due process. He went to prison. Yet today, the SCA is suggesting that some of the things were not followed. So, and we know this was directed by the DA, which is so blind when it comes to serious crime, like the issue of Steinhoff. They have not taken that thing to court, yet we expect them. This was just an objective thing. It is definitely not. Instead, they are abusing the Constitution, which seems to be so protective towards certain class in the country called South Africa. But we thought it is correct at this point in time that President Zuma remain a South African citizen who fought for this country, and it must benefit from all, like all who belongs to this country and deserve the proper Bill of Rights as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know there are so many cases that we could talk about, but I think if we could focus on what was ruled yesterday. So, do you completely disagree with the ruling? And it was a unanimous ruling that, I mean, just to quote, it basically, Judge Tati Makgoka basically saying the National Commission of Correctional Services, if he was so empowered to decide whether Zuma's time on unlawful medical parole should be considered in determining any application or grounds for release, and that it was wrong. What he decided was wrong to release former President Jacob Zuma. That's what the court said. That's what the ruling was, that it was not the correct decision to release him. I think that at the crux of all of this is what this was all about. So are you totally in disagreement with what they have ruled?
I'm not sure, Leanne, whether you want us to go and interpret the statutes. If you want us to do that, we could just tell you already that if you want to analyze properly, you must also do and check other case studies. And I've already mentioned that politically, while President Zuma at some point was taken into prison, the judges of our country and all the jurists are aware of what happened. I don't think that they went into deeper details of the reality of this case. And I think you are aware as we speak, that President Zuma has just turned 8 years. An 8-year-old, to think that at this point in time, someone who's not killed anyone, someone who has followed the due processes, then you think that just in a bizarre moment, you just have to decide that he must go back to prison. I don't think it's fair, because justice must be justified. And at this point in time, justice is giving us injustice, because it has a potential of derailing our democracy. I think that's the bone of contention at this point in time. I've already highlighted the issue of biasness, that they ought to take the content of what is going to protect the communities. The reality is that if you give someone like President Zuma a parole, he's going to contribute back to the society. He's been accepted. They've already found that he's back in the community. He's contributing already on some positive collective processes of building the country. What benefit are you going to gain if you try to take him into prison? Because even these prisons are designed to be correctional in their nature. Yeah. So what point are they trying to prove at this point in time?
Yeah. I think the idea behind it, and perhaps it's not what you are thinking or saying, is that the law is the law. It has been decided that the law, it was a unanimous decision that Arthur Fraser had no right to overrule the Medical Parole Council or the board. And he did exactly that. And so in doing that, it was illegal and it was not right what he did. So that was the ruling of the court. I'm not certain that anything else was brought into it, but it is looking at it, how the case worked and the decision that was taken, which was illegal. And is that not one way of just having a look at the law belongs to everybody and everyone should follow the course of the law?
Section 51 of Criminal Procedure Act, Leanne, deals with the process and how to follow the process of a parole. That is why I said that, and I've already cited a case study of the similar nature. How do you follow the process? In terms of the commission, amongst other things that were cited, he's already been into prison. The man is not strong in terms of medical, so, and at this point in time, if he's taken back to the community or to the society, he's going to contribute positively in the society. And what you are suggesting, that is why I strategically give you the scenario. And I thought, Leanne, you would be tempted to tell me that someone like Janus Wallos deserves a parole, then President Zuma does not deserve a parole. And whether this decision was unanimous, it does not assist the recourse, because as I've already indicated, that amongst other things that the law must formulate is the issue of social cohesion. Why would the jurist who lives in the country like South Africa, who understood exactly what transpired during July at some point in time, then can just, in a spur of a moment, decide something like this? Because what benefit? Because if you read even this case, it's not like there's something fundamental that they want to gain out of this. It's like they just want to poke, or they want to prove a point. And I've already mentioned as well that you have what is called ideological superstructure. The justice system has been used in our country to benefit the few or the minorities, those who are have. So it means that in South Africa, we have got more resources, then you are not likely to go to jail. But if you come from a poor background, if you are regarded as have not, then you are definitely going to be taken to court, you are going to be suppressed, you are going to be persecuted.
Chair, I'm not sure we could put former President Jacob Zuma into that category. I think the former president has the resources to defend himself.
I'm talking about the principles. I'm talking about the principles.
I think it's hard to look at principles. I mean, surely we should be looking at these case by case. And if the law says so, then we must all abide by the law. But something that was quite concerning that you said was that the courts or the ruling should have taken into consideration what did happen when former President Zuma was taken to prison initially. Are you fearing that the same may happen if Zuma does in fact go back to jail?
I'm being realistic, and I have a concern as a citizen that jurists, even when they are in moot court, they are given a scenario that you must be practical. In this case, we ought to take the reality that if you are giving former President Zuma a parole, what will happen on the ground? He has already been proven that he has served the time, and the commissioners took swipe that, and has already been taken back to the community, and he has contributed already positively. What benefit are you going to advance by taking him back to prison if you are going to have a chance? So that's why I'm saying that judiciary is not something that is designed by a mechanic of some sort or an instrument. The judges are human beings who understand the ramification in the community, in the country. That is why, as part of the Constitution, the issue of the social coherence remains at the center, because they must also rebuild the nation as opposed to be destroying the nation.
It's a pity we've run basically out of time, but I have to ask you. So the ruling says he must go back to the Estcourt Correctional Centre. It is then up to the Department of Correctional Services to determine if the medical parole that he has already served is good enough, and the fact that he does not need to go back into prison. What is your next step? What have you heard? Have you spoken to Zuma? Do you know what the next step is here?
The problem, you are also concerned. I could just gaze at your direction that you are also concerned of what is going to happen, but you just want to subject this to an organization called ANC as opposed to take a proper litmus test whether to have a justice system that is fair, that is transparent in the country. I think the next step is, I think we rely on the strength now of the Correctional Service that their decision was an objective decision that has contributed on building the processes, that has already contributed positively of taking the former president, the freedom fighter, back to where he belongs, his home, so that what he fought for, he must also earn those fruits. So we hope they are going to maintain, they are going to be consistent with what transpired in their verdict.
All right, Chair, we have to leave it there. Thanks for talking to us. ANC KZN chairperson Siboniso Duma giving us his reaction to the order from the Supreme Court of Appeal in Bloemfontein ordering former President Jacob Zuma to return to the Estcourt Correctional Centre to finish serving his sentence.